So where are you?
I'm in Devon at the moment. My family are from Devon, and I'm down here sort of working on a farm currently because I've been waiting on things to open up again and just like
Yeah,
needed to get from the city for a bit now because I was in Brighton for a little bit. I was living in Brighton for about 5 years, and then
right.
the pandemic hit, and I went to stay in Bristol for a bit, and I moved back down with my mum, and then yeah, we've just been all over the place really. But I'm looking forward to just starting some gigs again, which is I guess the point of this lovely
Yeah,
interview. We're gonna do some yeah, talk about that sort of stuff, which is
yeah,
really
yeah.
exciting.
Yeah, so it's been a while since I've actually seen you, isn't it? I mean, we did meet once or twice, didn't we? And
Yeah,
that was going back a few years now, wasn't it?
gosh, it feels like a lifetime ago, mate, to be honest. Like
Yeah,
like the whole break that I had also was kind of sort of made a lot longer by the fact that we had no gigs with the pandemic as well. So I feel like, yeah, I've just been sort of waiting to come sing some tunes again, like, and do what I actually like to do.
well, if you don't mind, we'll just sort of we'll just do a little bit of a Potter's history, if that's okay, before we kind of get into the present day. Just to give people a bit of context. So you obviously you're known as Fable, and but your real name's Holly. If I'm all right to call you Holly, or shall I? What do you want me
Yeah,
to call you? Yeah,
you can call me Holly. Of course you
it's
can.
not.
That's
It's
all
not.
right.
It's not a secret. In other words, no.
No, it's not. It's not at all. Fable is
Okay.
almost like an alter ego and a character.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
So when I did meet you in Brighton, you were basically just kind of starting out, and obviously singing was what you wanted to do. And I remember seeing you as well at a showcase event for the Great Escape, which was at the Marwoods pub, I think it was,
the Marwards, yeah.
upstairs in the Marwoods, that really weird cookie kind of cafe place.
That was a great gig. I really enjoyed that gig actually. That was live. It was lit.
I mean, it was rammed. It was
Good
absolutely
fun.
rammed. I was surprised I could get in there, but yeah, that was great. But that was 3-4 years ago now.
Yeah, it was 3-4 years ago. I think it was around about the time that I was sort of doing the quite rocky, punky kind of Fable set, which was a lot of fun live.
Yeah.
A lot of the music was written with Archive, the trip hop collective.
Right. Yeah.
Danny
Yeah.
and Darius, and we really had an interesting sort of flex on that with those guys when I was writing with them, and it all kind of transferred to live in this quite kind of frantic live show, which was bloody fun to do. But I think also where we're going with it now, it's going to be quite a different show, I think, considering the kind of new material that I've been sort of compiling over the past 2 years. I think it's still going to have a definite like rawness to it, like it was before, but I think we're kind of on slightly jazzier territory than before, which is really exciting.
So I don't know if you want to sort of go back into that period and just I mean, and if there's anything that you don't particularly want to talk about, that's absolutely fine. But I'm just curious, obviously, as to it sounds like that it wasn't quite happening for you. You weren't, and basically you decided to kind of step back and reevaluate things.
Yeah,
and
completely. Yeah, I had a bit of like personal trauma going on at that point as well. I think I was living in a shared house in Brighton. I had this relationship with this lady who we ended up breaking up, and then she had quite a bad time with her mental health, and then like shortly after that she ended up committing suicide, and I ended up sort of stepping away from all of my kind of music stuff at that point, just because I couldn't focus, and I couldn't actually tap into my creativity at that point. I think sometimes it's different with different artists, but I think sometimes a lot of people are able to like delve into that later on, but for me I needed that sort of processing time before I continued to sort of like gig and stuff, because I think it's a different process, isn't it, from writing to actually like being out there in the public eye and performing. And I found that writing process great a couple of years after I'd kind of taken a step away from it and had a bit of a sort of process and reevaluate my kind of headspace with everything. And yeah, I think like it's definitely like given a bit of like depth to the writing of the next album for sure. Like
Yeah.
just having that space as well, and I met my partner during that period, and he's a philosopher, he's into poetry. We had a lot of like sort of deep discussions, like
Yeah.
that sort of like little space in the world. And yeah, I think like just having a healthy amount of time away from music, because it can be a total like fishbowl that you're in when you're doing it, and
Yeah.
just sort of like stepping outside of that and seeing what life is like getting a real job, for example, like going to work like 40-hour week on a farm, and kind of just like figuring out what your day-to-day stuff is, more than like your big goals and aspirations, was a really sort of wholesome thing to do at that point, definitely, because I'd never really done that. I'd always, like, my family were, my dad's a musician, and I'd been sort of gigging and performing and writing since I was about sort of 12. So I think like it's been a real trajectory up until that point, and then just having that moment to be like, oh right, okay, what's life about other than music for once, was really important, actually. If not to do it now, then I definitely end up doing it later. So I'm glad it's happened at this point, and then I can sort of take stuff from that and put it into the new collateral, you know what I mean?
Yeah, so obviously there was, major things going on in your life, and funnily enough, my wife is a bit of a philosopher. She teaches philosophy, actually. So it's nice having those philosophical discussions every now and then, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, in this world, especially, because I think like we're just so, gosh, yeah, we're so like not really taught that stuff, you know what I mean? We're not.
No.
It's something that should probably be in the secondary school curriculum, like to learn how to think, for example. Like, and I think that underpins then everything that you learn, doesn't it? How you even like perceive the world of life. And just having that presence in my life from Jack was like, because it's something that I've always been interested in, obviously, as an artist and writer and everything else, but like to actually like have someone that you can confide in with that sort of stuff, it's like really, really lovely.
Good.
Yeah.
So obviously after the events in Brighton with your personal life, you basically took a step back and just reevaluated and went through, I guess, that long process of
that long process of kind of going, oh, do I even want to do this anymore? And then being like, actually, yeah, I do. That kind of just to take a new perspective on it, I think is really useful.
And then of course sorry.
Yeah, go on.
Well, I was just going to say the pandemic obviously hit as well, and that's kind of delayed things a little bit further as well. Yeah,
for sure. But I think in all of that time, as actually before the pandemic happened, I just signed to Name, a small.
That's right. Yes. I know them. They're great. They release some really good stuff, don't they? Very cool stuff. Yeah.
They're lovely guys as well. James is wonderful, and who actually James put me in contact with Jonas Persons, who I actually wrote the new album with. So it was really nice kind of friendship that I formed with him through that. And then just through then obviously the pandemic hit, and then by that point I was like kind of coming up doing bits of writing, doing it quite sporadically though, as in, so I'd come up for like 4 days or something, and then I'd go back home, I'd go back to work, and then kind of come up again and have another writing session for about 4 days. And we, over about the course of about a year and a half, we put together an album. But it was a different kind of writing process. I think with Archive, we did it quite intensively, and sat in each other's spaces and each other's heads for a few days and smashed it out. But with this, we kind of had a lot of breathing space between each track, which is why I think there's probably quite a lot of sort of difference in each song. I think there's quite a lot of variety on the album. But I think that's just the phases of what you go through during a year and a half. For sure. It was a real different kind of way of doing it, but
Yeah.
I think we've managed to somewhat keep some continuity through it. It's not completely random, but that was what I was always worried about, was that it was going to be so, every track was going to be so different that it couldn't possibly be one body of work. But I think over the 2 years, we managed to write enough songs to find the thread that ran through them all.
Yeah. Well, you can hear that. I mean, I've had a chance to hear the album, and you can definitely hear the sort of fluidity of it. Definitely flows really well.
Good.
Which is really which is good and really important, I think, especially for an artist who's kind of, establishing themselves. But it is also different as well. I didn't really get to hear much of your old stuff on a studio recording level. I saw you live a couple of times, and I heard a couple of things. But like you said earlier on, it was definitely had a bit more of a rockier feel to it. Whereas this definitely has more of there's a little bit of jazz, a little bit of trip hop, I think. Sure. Kind of that vibe to it. But
I think I kind of wanted to sort of like acknowledge the sort of music that I sung before I started writing with Archive, before I sort of had that teenaged angst that we all go through, and we want to write really thrashy music. Before that, I was very much like a jazz vocalist, and everything that I was sort of like singing when I was sort of 14 was kind of around those kind of like notes and shades. So like it's kind of a little bit more, it's kind of a nod to the past in a sense for me as well, to kind of like integrate all those different sort of like things that I love, like Etta James, but I also love the Sex Pistols, but I also love, it's all quite contradictory, but to try and make that work on an album, I think hopefully we've managed to. I'm not sure. But mostly we created it in his studio up in Soho in London, but we ended up just using the original takes because there was just something about those like true moments when you first come up with an idea and it's expressed. You struggle to like recreate that feeling that it came with. For example, Orbiting, the vocals, the backing vocals that run under the whole thing were just kind of recorded by me in my bedroom, just totally in the zone with it, and we tried to recreate those backing vocals in the studio, and it was just something so like, it's just so melancholy and like vibey about it that we couldn't recreate it, so we just kept the original rough stems, and you can really kind of hear that in the record, that it's kind of got that cozy, intimate feeling.
It's definitely got that for sure. I mean, there's three. I think there's a number of songs that people can listen to already. Woo, Fall Away, and can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you. Sorry, that was my mum trying to ring me.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no worries.
She can be quite relentless with this sort of thing.
That's all right. I'm expecting my mum to walk in any moment now with the dogs, and I have to say, "Mum, shush."
Mum, shut up, Mum.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love a job sandwich, please, Mr. Mum.
That's all right. Yeah. So I was saying that there are some songs that have been released that people will be able to hear, like "Fall Away," which is the most recent one. "Womb" came out a few months ago now, and then before that, it was another song, wasn't it? Was it
"Thirsty," which was a kind of a hint to the original stuff that I used to do with Archive, which was a little bit more up in your face, and kind of it's got like a bit of a ragey breakdown at the end, and it was kind of like a little hint to that. Just, it was kind of a single that didn't make the album because it was more of a statement to say, hey, remember me, I'm gonna make music again, type thing. So it was it didn't quite sit with the rest of the tracks.
Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, I've just realized that's not on the album. Yeah, so that was just basically reintroducing yourself, but you decided not to use that track on the album. But the last two songs that you released, "Womb" and "Fall Away," are on the album.
Will be featured. Yeah.
And then the album's, sorry.
No, continue. That's all right, mate. No worries.
Yeah, so Shame, the album's called Shame, isn't it? And
yeah, that's the title track.
Yeah, so there's a song called Shame on the album. Can you talk us through that? Why you went for that title, or is there any particular?
Yeah, I think there's a lot you can pull from that song lyrically, but I decided to sort of title the album Shame, because I thought we're kind of in a world of sort of, it's a kind of a word that has like negative connotations that I kind of wanted to sort of show in a slightly new light. I think we're living in a bit of a social climate of blind like self-empowerment and like unconditional self-love, and it was kind of it's kind of a polarization of that in a sense. It's sort of shame is kind of like a feeling no one's up for exploring at the moment, especially on social media. I see it quite often, and I think there's something really self-reflective about the idea of shame, and I think it's actually a force for like internal positive change, because there are times in my life where I've felt shame for some really shitty things that I've done, and it was only through feeling that I was able to act and sort of like change my perspective even. And if I sort of continued to pat myself on the back, like, I'd still be quite ignorant. So I think I don't know. I think the world at the moment is completely shameless. Like how we live our lives, we like congratulate ourselves because we desperately don't want to feel bad about ourselves and sort of confront anything that lurks in the depths of our minds or our beings. And like, yeah, it's kind of almost, it's almost like the opposite as to what everyone's trying to promote on their social media at the moment, which is just unconditional self-love and like, yeah, you go girl, you do what you do your thing. It's like I sort of feel like that can be quite negative in a sense if we're constantly reaffirming each other's mental health problems and not confronting any of it. So I think just at the time that we're in now, I kind of wanted to just like throw that little curveball because it's something that I've been thinking about quite a lot.
Sure. Well, I think it's very important, being honest and upfront and not hiding behind masks and pretending otherwise. Exactly. And I think people will get that generally. It's just generally there's a tendency for the louder ones to make their voices heard on social media, aren't there? And
massively, yeah. Everything's a PR campaign these days. Nothing's got integrity anymore because all of our lives are pretty much just social media adverts, really. So it's it's a horrible world to live in at the moment, mate. Honestly, on this social media malarkey, I'm sick of it. I'm absolutely sick of it. I can't even believe that. Yeah, I mean, as a musician, you now have really no option other than to be honest. I think you've just got to look at it for what it is and kind of take the piss out of it and twist it.
I think if, I think you can work it to your advantage and be truthful to yourself, at the same time. So I think that's definitely good. And the fact that we're all coming out of, lockdown, and there's obviously more interactions, more people going out and meeting people and connecting, and you'll be doing live shows as well, things like that. That's going to kind of change things a lot again, I think. So
definitely. I think my immediate reality recently has been so like far away from music and kind of what that involves, that it's going to be really nice to actually have like realize that as my reality again, because it's just been a really long haul, hasn't it?
For sure.
Us, I think.
Well,
we all just need a bit of a dance, a bit of a hug.
Well, you can't dance by yourself all the time, can you?
Exactly.
So you're going to be doing I know you're coming to Brighton to do that sort of live session, aren't you, for the radio Totally Wired?
Yes, that's going to be great.
Is that going to be, I mean, I think there's going to be an audience for that show, isn't there? Some kind of audience, an invited audience.
There is. I mean, there's tickets on sale for it now.
Actually, okay.
From the Totally Wired website, and so it's going to be I think it's like £11 or something for a ticket, and there's going to be a nice audience there, so it's going to have that vibe, but it's also going to be recorded and everything else. So that'll be, I think, that always brings something else to it when you've got an audience there. I think we've all a lot of people have been doing sort of sofa sessions and bedroom film bits and bobs, but you can just tell, can't you, when there's an audience and when there's not, just in the artist's eyes and their voice and everything.
It's just totally different, isn't it? Totally different dynamic and everything. Will this be your first live show for?
This will be, yeah. This will be the first one.
A couple of years.
Longer than that, mate. Probably about 4 years, I'd say. I think the last year was 4 years ago. I mean, it's been too long.
That's going to be super exciting then, isn't it?
And then we've got, man. I think I might have a heart attack. We've also got another one coming up in Bristol on the 23rd of September.
Right. Okay.
Which is at the Thunderbolt, which is a nice little boozer.
Right.
Quite intimate. I've got some revelers coming along to that Bristol gang, which would be quite nice and noisy, fun. So just these 2 gigs at the moment, and then we're going to get some more stuff booked in over the other, the winter period, and then next year's set to look really quite busy, and we'll have the album out by I can't remember the date now. Actually, I think it's the start of next year. I think it's.
It was mentioned to me that February was mentioned to me for some reason, stuck in my mind. February. Will there be any other releases between now and then?
Yeah, we're gonna drop another one. Gosh, what date was I gonna drop it? I'm gonna need to text you this.
Well, I can. I'm sure I can find out.
I'm sure.
Don't worry.
I'm shit at remembering dates. I've got a brain like a
no worries. You've got other people to do that for you.
Exactly. So we've got two singles to be released from the album before the album drops. So well excited. One of them will be the title track, will be Shame.
Right. Yeah.
And the other one before that will be Guilt of the Act, which I'm sure you've heard on there, which is the slightly more commercial one, which is very weird. So I wrote it and I thought, that's not going on the album. And then everyone went, that's going on the album, that's going to be a single. And I was like, no, all right then, fine. It's one of those classic classic artist things to do, which is like not the cheesy one. Don't release the cheesy. Oh, fine, everyone likes it more. Standard.
Okay,
but that's exciting.
So a lot happening. It's going to be a bit of a slow burner for the meantime, obviously, as you gear up for next year, basically, and get those I guess some kind of dates in the diary. More around the release of the album, basically, and that's coming out on Name still, isn't it? NA. Brilliant, very cool. So very exciting for you, and I'm really pleased. And it was lovely to hear that you were back in action, because I did wonder, well, what happened to Holly, and then suddenly, bosh, there's this new track dropped, and then obviously things have been going from there. So that's really good to hear.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been a great year so far, actually. We've had so much love for Orbiting, especially. I think that one's really captured people with the sort of themes, and the video also was quite poignant for the times that we were in. So that one, really still as well stands up for me as one of my favourite tracks on the album. So happy that one's out. Can't wait to do that one live. That sounds beautiful. We had a little band rehearsal the other day, actually, which was nice.
So you'll be doing some more band rehearsals. I mean, I guess this is all new again, isn't it? Band rehearsals,
I know. Well, we are bringing out some of the old ones. Don't worry.
Of course.
Definitely, we have to give it that kind of energy on stage. So we're opening with quite a raucous number, which will be a bit of a shock. So that'll be good.
And you'll be down on the 10th of September, yeah?
Yeah, 10th of September.
Well, that happens to be my birthday, so maybe I'll see
you. Does it? You planned that well. That's good.
So
you'll be quite half cut then by the time I'll see you.
Yeah, probably. We'll see. I'll behave myself, I'm sure. But I really look forward to it. It should be fun. And thanks very much for taking the time. I know this is your
thanks for giving me a
no problem,
man.
Yeah, we're very excited about it, all of us here. So it should be really cool. So nice to connect with you again, and
Yeah, lovely to see you again, Jeff.
have a good rest of
Via
the
the
day.
internet.
Yeah, have a
Yes,
good
you
rest of the
too.
day.
Say hello to your mum.
Yeah, and say hello to your mum, and
I
hopefully
will.
see you on the 10th of September.
Oh, mate, I look forward to it.
All right, brilliant.
Have a
Take
good
care.
one.
Thanks a lot.
Have a nice day, man. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.